Jai Karada Suparna, happy Yugadi. On this beautiful day, while I was driving to work I was listening to Swami's, APN Swami's interview with Srimati Padmapriya yesterday, Yen Edarkayyapadi, in APN Swami's YouTube channel. So Swami, while he was explaining beautifully the differences between Upanyasam and Kalakshepam and the dress code and the rules of context that one need to follow and understanding Sampradaya with beautiful, lovely day-to-day practical examples on how it is extremely relevant. Swami gave a very important call on youngsters starting to learn about our Sampradayam, coming into Sampradayam, starting to undergo Kalakshepams with Acharyans and the importance of it. And that's a very common thing. In fact, many people have asked me to hear when they say, why, how am I able to manage with Kalakshepams and work and all the other Vedic studies and Agama studies, everything going on. Maybe could that wait for a few years' time before we would be able to do it? Adiyan has been undergoing Kalakshepam with APN Swami for almost like 6 years now, and almost towards when I was nearing my 40 is when I even started this. That itself is, I will consider it to be a very late time to even start understanding about our Sampradayam in a proper way. Why? This was actually, brings to my mind, some of the things which we keep hearing in our childhood, but we never quite pay importance to it. My grandmother always used to say, you should do things at the right time. We can't wait for the tide to cross when you want to swim across or take a boat across the river. We cannot we cannot say, I won't wait for the river to stop flowing for me to cross the river. That's not going to happen for us in a practical time. So when is the right time? When should we do it? The right time is actually when we think that we are kind of extremely occupied with our stuff. We are not able to find the right balance between what we are trying to do. When we are even in a state when one common expression we say is we are running chasing our tail. This is all the time when one needs to understand and even try to appreciate our elders' teachings towards Sampradayam. Why? Because that gives us the clarity. When there is the well which is kind of muddy, the well which is kind of sullied there with all the dirt mixed in, what do the elders do? I remember in my childhood home in Kodamakam we used to have a well. Of course, when that's not there anymore, we had very hard to find houses with wells. But I still remember when the well water is kind of studied, my grandfather, he will actually take a particular type of lime salt and he will just put that patikaram in the water, and after some time you'll see that with the presence of it, it kind of gets cleared and water becomes pure and drinkable there. That kind of when we are filled with muddled our thoughts with activities with so much of things that we are trying to do, that patikaram that we need to cleanse our mind, to purify our mind, is all from the Sri Shuktis of our Alvar and Acharyans. So when we understand the meanings of it, and properly with the aid of an Acharyan, understanding what is relevant, what is needed for us, and what is the esoteric deep aspects of what we take things for granted in each day-to-day life, then that is when we will be able to get our clarity in terms of bringing our balance between our professional life and with the life or the journey for the soul with our Atma, for it to be clear without being muddied by all these external thoughts which comes in there. So I will really would appreciate that everyone could go back to with APN Swami's original Upanyasam there on this topic, on his video series on Yen Edarkayyapadi. But also this is the time when we could all be reflecting on approaching an Acharyan and trying to learn and understand our Sampradayam in a proper way. Jai Karada Suparna.